What is up, guys? DT Ninja here to bring you my latest Rurouni Kenshin, the Hokkaido arc review and discussion. This is Chapter 11. Chapter 11. Yes, guys, it's been a while since I've done a review and discussion on Kenshin for the Hokkaido arc. I've actually translated up to Chapter 14, so I have worked on them, but I just haven't had time to do a discussion. Now, some of the questions I won't be able to answer because I already know the answers, because I translated, I'm already 3 chapters further than this, but there are some questions that are still unanswered, and I'm going to talk about those today. So, before we even get to that, I wanted to show you guys my new volumes. So volume 1, volume 2, both of them are selling very well in Japan. They're only in Japanese, obviously, guys. But yeah, really great volumes. I highly recommend it for any fan out there. I'm pretty sure Viz is not going to publish them, so definitely check them out. Really good stuff. The first one has the prologue all the way up to chapter 3, and it also came with a special poster with the intro. And then the second one goes from chapter 4 all the way to chapter 9, which is one of the chapters that I reviewed last time. I did chapter 9 and 10. And then it's got a miniature poster of Saito, Sano, and Kenshin. So really cool stuff. But yeah, I highly recommend it for any Kenshin fan out there. Pick these volumes up. Yeah, but anyways, let's get to the chapter. The chapter is called Hashikap Mochi. Hashikap Mochi. Now, before I even get to my discussion questions, I usually talk about things I noticed in the chapter. So the first thing I want to tell you guys is the remoteness of the area. So when we first enter the chapter is in a tea house. They're at a tea house. It looks like a remote area, and we got like this wanted sign on the front, right? And it's one of the criminals, and the criminal just happens to walk in to the tea house. It's like, whoa, okay. It's like, it's a remote area, so it's kind of strange. But anyways, the guy who's on the wanted poster walks in, and he grabs one of the girls who's waiting the tables, and basically Sugimura, one of the samurai, the kendo master Sugimura Yoshie, he is sitting down at this tea house, and he's having tea. And the girl screams out, she's like, "Help me, Mr. Samurai." And he sits there and he's like, "I'm sorry, girl, but samurai no longer exist." So, I mean, like, this guy doesn't seem like a hero in her eyes, right? I mean, he's saying samurai don't exist. It's true, they don't. The original samurai that existed during the Bakumatsu, the revolution, the Tokugawa, they don't exist, right? They have a different role now. So it's interesting to see how his ideology is, and that past of his, he wants to move on from that. So, but anyways, that was interesting, something I noticed in the chapter. Sojiro shows up. So he kind of predicts that someone is actually coming, and it turns out to be Sojiro. So Sojiro Seita returns in this chapter. Really good stuff. Sojiro Seita, right? Sojiro, yes. The Tenken returns. The Tenken. Yeah, I've got a lot of Sojiro stuff, so that's my keychain of Sojiro. And also, Sojiro doesn't use a sword. So you can see him with his little medicinal pack. He comes in as the girl's crying out for help, and he's like, "Are you busy?" And he immediately stands up, Sugimura, and he says, "Sojiro Seita, I've been waiting on you." He's been waiting for him to show up. So it's obvious that he's been tracking him. So very interesting stuff. Also, Sugimura Sugimura is not only tracking him, but he's working for the government, it seems like, because he says that I have an order from high up. Would you care to join me on my journey to Hakodate? And towards the end of the chapter, he states that an old friend of him is waiting. So it kind of gives that idea that, it's someone from the revolution. And I'm not going to spoil it for you guys that haven't caught up yet. But yeah, it's a really good reveal. So definitely check it out. I provided the link in the description to all 14 chapters. So definitely check those out. Sojiro figures out that Sugimura is from the Bakamatsu. He borrows the sword from the criminal in the tea house, and they step outside, and he shows him 3 steps short of the Shukuchi, shows his insane speed. I mean, this guy has some insane speed, right? Shukuchi, the heavenly sword. But yeah, anyways, Shukuchi, he doesn't show the full the full speed of Shukuchi, but he does surprise Sugimura, and it's really great to see them fighting and seeing how he uses strategy to trap him. He traps him. He allows him to cut him. He cuts off part of his hat. He does hit him, but he catches him in a technique. And this technique basically stops his every movement. He's like paralyzed. So that was really cool too. But yeah, really good chapter, I gotta say. And towards the end, Anji shows up, and stops they're trying to kill each other, it seems. And he stops it. And Anji explains that I should have been the one to persuade Sojiro, and he automatically joined the group when Anji suggested to come with him. So, but good stuff. Yeah, really good stuff. I enjoyed this chapter. So like I said, Sojiro returns. Yoshie Sugimura shows us some of his skill. But yeah, those are some things I noticed. Also, towards the end, it talks about how he doesn't slay people anymore. And this is key to his ideology, his way of thinking, his moving on. It's the Meiji era. This is a new era, moving forward from the time where we thought, everything was, kill or be killed, live by the sword, die by the sword, So, but yeah, really cool stuff. Moving on to the discussion questions. So, what is Hashkap Mochi? That is the title of the chapter. Hashkap means a fruit. It is a specific fruit found only in Hokkaido. So it's very special, only found in Hokkaido. And this is from the Ainu people. These are of Russian descent who assimilated into Japan from Russia. So these are the Ainu people, and their specific fruit is called Hashkap. So Hashkap Mochi is that fruit along with rice cake. So it's a rice cake filled with Hashkap fruit, and it's very delicious, obviously. You see all 3 of them eating it towards the end. And it's the specialty at that tea house. But yeah, I had to look it up. But it's very interesting, and I like how Watsuki, puts these things that are very unique and, related to his series. But yeah. Okay, second question. What is the secret of San Rendosa? Now, San Rendosa is the triple interlocking technique of Sugimura Yoshie. So, like I said, Sojiro shows Shukuchi, or 2 steps short of the Shukuchi. He shows his incredible speed, and he catches, Sugimura off guard, or he thinks he does. He cuts his hat, but it's all a trap. When he sees his eyes, he's like, I caught you. And he's like, he can't move. He's like frozen, and he's like, I've ensnared you in the dragon's tail. So the one thing I want to note here is that I feel that it's some kind of variation of the Shino Ippo. You guys remember Shino Ippo, where that was where Jinei Udo used his eyes as a way of paralyzing his opponent, or you could basically make it so you can't move, and Kenshin was strong enough to break it, right? It's like a contest of spirits, but in this case their swords interlock. They basically clash against one another, and when that happens, he literally makes it so they can't move. So maybe it's actually related to how the sword actually, clashed towards his, and that's when it happened. But anyways, it's very interesting to think about what is that secret of his technique, because, Sojiro's very fast, he's very skilled as a swordsman, but at the same time, Sugimura's strategy was right on. I mean, he basically egged him on, and right when he clashed his sword, he made him basically immobile. He cannot move. So, very good stuff. But then, Sojiro's like, now I'm going to show you the full extent of my power. And then he's about to use Shikuchi. I think he's about to break his technique, but then Anji shows up and, smashes both of them and breaks the technique. So it shows that Anji's power is strong enough to break through that for whatever it is. But yeah, really good stuff. But like I said, I think it's some kind of variation of the Shino Ippo where it paralyzes you. And maybe it is not related to the eyes, but to the sword, the clashing of swords. Because we saw like the interlocking, and I think that's where the interlocking comes from, because they basically clash together. So yeah. Okay, the next thing. Which is better, Sojiro's speed, the Shikushi, or Sugimura's technique, Sanrin Dosa, or his strategy in general? It's very hard to, really come up with a conclusion here, because we got a second step short of Shikuchi, but we didn't get the full extent. So I think that Sojiro is faster and probably more skilled than Sugimura. However, I don't want to say more skilled, but he's definitely faster. Sojiro's speed is one of the fastest in the entire series. And if you cannot catch your opponent, you cannot win. So in that regard, I think Sojiro would win if he was able to connect with his techniques. However, if he is caught in that technique, it's the other way around. So it's very hard to distinguish whether one is better than the other. But they're both very interesting. So just wanted to share. You can share your own thoughts in the comment section. Okay, the fourth one. Former Wolf of Mibu. He explains towards the end of the chapter that he is no longer a Wolf of Mibu, which means he is former Shinsengumi, and everyone believes it is, Shimpachi, Shimpachi, Nagakura Shimpachi. Now, this is only speculation based on the fact that Yoshie Sugimura, in real life, that's the name he takes. So, and how Watsuki is using real-life characters like Hajime Saito and Goro Fujita, it just makes sense. Especially towards the end of the chapter when he says, I have an old friend that is waiting for me in Hakodate. And he also explained that someone high up in the government is requesting for your assistance. So it all connects back. So, but when he says that I am no longer a wolf, but a dog who no longer kills, what is his ideology now? What does he live by? Obviously, Saito still lives by the Aksok-san, slay evil immediately. But Nagakura Shimpachi, or Yoshie Sugimura, he states that he no longer goes by that. And it's really obvious because we saw when the criminal showed up, the girl was asking for help. Mr. Samurai, he basically ignored her. He's like, I'm no longer a samurai. No, samurai no longer exist. So you definitely see that he's changed, but he's the same also. In the way that he doesn't really want to kill people. He wants to move forward in the new generation. And we saw how Sojiro predicted or, surmised that he is from the Bakumatsu. He got upset. He's like, bastard, this is the Meiji era. You can just see that he enjoys his life in the Meiji era. So, but anyways, it was a great chapter. Good stuff. I hope I covered the things that are the most interesting. Obviously, I hope I didn't spoil you too much, but it's not really a spoiler when you think about it, when you go through how history is and Watsuki uses history in his story. So, okay guys, so that's pretty much it for the chapter. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I covered pretty much everything that that was most important. One last thing, big thanks to Chris JP20 for the color scans at the beginning. I did a quick intro of this fight between Sugimura and Sojiro. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you guys in the next chapter review, which will be chapter 12, coming very soon. So I will see you guys in the next one.